Anyways, we're going to react to this that just came out because I don't believe him, and I'm a firm Taoshi hybrid DPS person, not a support person. Let me unmute that. Yeah, no, you don't get hurt as Taoshi. Lies. Yeah, okay. I can already tell you. So he was on Impermanence Heron. So he's on Moonlit set. I'm assuming buffing Yinlin and Chixia because those are two of his favorite characters because I've watched this guy before. Um, Using her as a buffer with the energy regen and outro skill on Imperm Heron as well to outro out to. All defense. I guarantee you all defense percentage. Damn. 3,392 with 140% energy regen. Actually, a lot of crit rate. I am now genuinely curious. Is he running? Hey, cool. Okay, he actually talks about it. Dauntless Evernight. He's running crit rate main piece. Good defense rolls. And crit roll. Jesus Christ, that's a good piece for her, actually. Holy shit. Havoc, defense. Okay. I will say, the one thing I would like to see is instead of the other three-piece defense being another Havoc percent, because she has so much defense percentage, it's just diminishing return. She deals a lot more damage with the Havoc percentage. But it is cool to see such a high defense number, to be fair. Yeah, so S6. Mm-hmm. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. They go away if you get hit. You want them for the 30 seconds to switch out into other characters. Uh okay. Only character. Yinlin dealing most of her damage off of resonance skill damage. Um I beg to differ. I also think Alto for DPS Alto, his missed bullets are skilled resonance skill damage. So there's him too. There's also Danjin, who does a lot of resonance skill damage. There's also, yeah, there's Chixia. I would also like to say Yang Yang's skill damage isn't terrible, but I mean, you're not buffing it for that. But you are doing it for, I think, Yuanwu too. When his attacks are enhanced, they are considered to scale off of resonance skill damage as well a little bit. I could be wrong on that. I think I am wrong on that. But yeah, no, Yinlin. Yeah, Chishi is not the only one. Yinlin, Alto, Palcharo, even kind of technically if you're doing the back and forths. And then oh yeah, Encore. There is a playstyle in CN servers where it's Taoshi Encore, where you're switching off of Taoshi for the skill damage bonus to Encore, using her skill, switching back to whoever to deal damage, switching back to Encore to get the like just frame end to her skill, switching back to Taoshi to set up Encore's skill again. Because Encore's skill is where a lot of her damage output could also be from as well if you want an even quicker hot swap comp for her, basically, because it's a long animation. So Encore is also an option. Ling Yang, I believe, is also an option. I don't have him, but I know that he does chain his skill in between a lot of his things, so similar to Danjin. right? Like there's a lot of characters that scale off of skill damage. Jinshi is about to, and so is Changli. So Taochi's just going to become way more valuable when they come out as well. Yeah, so 12,000. I don't want to talk shit because mine just, I've unbuilt mine, but I do have footage proof of mine dealing about 30,000 or more. I think I hit 52,000 was the highest I'd ever hit. The havoc damage bonus scales better. It just does. Also, if he had introed and if he had done his rotation properly, with the using the skill, possibly also getting a parry off, although your intro counts as that, I believe, from my testing. You can get a lot more percentage increase on your defense anyway, so you just it diminishing returns versus the havoc damage bonus. I would love to see him switch that piece out to a havoc damage piece because he'll see there's a lot more damage output to be had. Because again, at level 60 with maxed out everything without counting for substats really, if you crit close to 56,000 damage, and then by level 90 you're over 200,000 damage in her ult alone. She's definitely not just a shielder. Mm-hmm. That's not how you mainly play her. You're crazy. So the issue with Impermanence Heron, which I understand the point of it is if you're running her as a support, it is better, but I like the Bellborn Geoshalone more. Reason why, it scales damage off of defense, so it's basically another press of her skill of damage. It's a little more actually. As well as a shield, so that if you have your skills, all your shields up, plus that shield, you have 100% damage reduction like Jianshin for one hit, and it goes down by 5% for the next hit and the next hit. So you have a lot, you can tank like 2 or 3 hits pretty safely from some bosses if you're really struggling. You also get more shield, and it also just overall increases her damage output on her proper rotation for damage while still being able to be moonlit. I like Heron. His Heron's also really good stats. Like I'd probably play that Heron over the Bellborn Geoshalone just for the sake of it being way stronger and then buffing my Yinlin. But for like Taoshi main DPS, Bellborn Geoshalone's kind of funny and you don't have to dodge. You just sit there and hold down your button. Nice Chishu damage. Good. E R Heron. Okay, so that's the other thing. Concerto energy. Bellborn Geoshalone helps to charge that a little bit. Because, I mean, you're dealing damage, right? You're going to charge it. It is quicker on rotation to use the Geoshalone to get her outro up. I tend to have it up by the time she's done with her rotation. As long as I introed skilled, she tends to just be there already. That's a lot of Chisha damage. That's the hybrid power if you're really trying to lean into like support with damage. But if you're trying to lean into hot swap burst damage, she can do so much more than you're letting on, brother. Crit rate, crit damage, that's nice. Are your other pieces having Resonance Liberation skill percent? Or Resonance Liberation damage percent? Because that scales real quick too. I can run the calculations again. I did on a different video, but Taoshi's damage is good. But she does practically make your team immune. Fights the Tempest hologram. Strongest shielder with 12k shield. And conclusion outro. I mean, I think we saw enough. The biggest thing is, yeah, as a support with some damage tacked on, sure. But if you want her to be a main damage dealer, if you get the build right, I mean, realistically, with everything going the way you want, you could get close to probably, with like 50% crit rate plus her 20% from her sequence, so 70% on ult or so, 250% crit damage, a bunch of defense, but mostly a bunch of Resonance Liberation damage bonus. And all that combined with switching off from like Jianshin to get another 38%, Yinlin another 20%, however you need to do it. You can look at 60 to 70% havoc damage bonus, 40, like, I guess with Yinlin like 20, but like 40 to 60% ult damage bonus, her own scalings off of it, crit. Defense, it scales 400% of her defense. Let's say you got 2,000 defense, 2, 4, 6, 8. You have 8,000 defense now, times like 1.6, which is going to be over 10,000 or so. It's going to be actually closer to 13,000 times basically another 1.6. It's going to be close to 20,000. Plus all of our extra defense scaling, as well as, you know, if you crit for 2.5 times damage off of 20,000, you're at 50,000, you're 50,000 damage on crit, right? So you're at 50,000 damage on crit, this being at level 60 when her scalings are not as good. So it's like closer to 300% scaling at level 60, but still you're like 50%, and that's with 2,000 defense. She's always going to be more than that. Mine's a 2,000 defense with 2 havoc damage pieces, and also not counting her sequences that buff it, as well as her passive thing that buffs it by 15% when she skills, and then another 50% when she parries. That's 65% more defense, plus intro on the Dauntless Evernight gives another 15% or so. I think mine's closer to 18% right now. So you're close to another 80% defense just off of that rotation. So that puts you closer to 3,000. You know, 3,000 times 300, that's 9,000, and then do all the scalings. You're about 52. Yeah, 52,000. So if you wanted like big damage numbers, yeah. Is it comparable to maybe a properly massively built Gion's intro ult damage? I mean, probably not, but then again, depends if you're S6 R5 or if you're S0 R0, right? Or I guess it would be R1, right? Because I've seen an S6 R5 hit for 500,000, but I've also seen S0 R1s do normal damage, right? So an S6 Taoshi, I mean, you're looking at a lot more damage than you're letting on here. The shield is nice, but why do you need a 12,000 health shield? I just want to ask, what's hitting you that hard? Because that's a lot of damage. I mean, honestly, a lot of the endgame bosses are hitting you that hard, but just dodge. The shield is nice, though. The shield is nice, especially with Geoshalone when you can take no damage. As a hybrid support, Heron is probably better to buff the character you're switching into next. I actually do like that idea, but as a safety net, as he's calling her, as a safety net, run Geoshalone. You want a safety net? Just take no damage. Same with Jianshin. Literally exact same. Just take no damage. Now you're really a safety net. And the amount of attacks a boss is going to throw out at you while your stuff's on cooldown is not a lot. I mean, you're still going to take no damage, and you've got a bunch of shield. 12,000 shield plus Geoshalone, right? Still L Taoshi takes. Why can't we start getting people appreciating DPS Taoshi? It'll happen one day. It'll happen the second I rebuild mine, because mine, again, I'm switching from Havoc set to Moonlit set. It will happen soon. And I'll be the one to do it. But just Taoshi slander everywhere. What is this? She's not a support. She's a DPS. What are we even talking about?